What's going on, YouTube? It's Donnie B all day, and I am bringing you the greatest and most wanted to see versus, I guess that's what that is, of all time. I'm talking, guys, this is the one that, that people want to see, and you can't see it if it's blurry, so you're just going to have to hold on. I am bringing you today the verses of two cold steel masterpiece extra large buoys. We have the 1917 Frontier freaking Bowie and the cold steel Natchez freaking Bowie. That's right. Cold steel needs to add the word frickin' to these knives because they are just that good. Starting with the ever so beautiful Natchez Bowie. Oh my god, this brushed finish is just absolutely perfect. I just did a couple of Cisco blades over where I wanted to mimic this finish because it is so nice, and they actually came out perfect. So if you want to look at how to make a shiny knife look like this, oh my gosh, watch the video. But I'll tell you what, this guy right here is a monster. I'm not going to give you the specs yet because I'm going to show you this one first, and then we're going to talk about the sheaths for half a second or a little bit longer. This guy right here, the 1917 Frontier Bowie, is just ridiculous. I'm going to get into it in just a couple. And man, oh man. But before I even get into these, let's get into what houses them, the sheaths. Now, when you're talking about a Musso style Bowie in the Natchez, you'd want to think about a leather sheath. That's what goes into your head. You're thinking a leather sheath, a freaking leather sheath, because that's what you use for that. Not cold steel. They give you one of these sheaths. What is this, polypropylene or Kydex? It's the Secure X sheath. It's, you know, a plastic. It's hard. Definitely gets the job done. And here's the cool thing, is that buoy can be used as a survival buoy because you have all the lashing and attachment areas for your line, for your striker, your ferro rod, your mag rod, your sharpeners. Anything you want to attach to this is going to attach. You have plenty of room to attach a lot of things. There's a lot of room here. This is also adjustable, and it is ambidextrous. I love that. I love ambidextrous sheaths because I'm left-handed. That helps. This one I still have righty because I didn't switch it. I don't know why, I just didn't. But I'm pretty sure I will. This is a Velcro latch, so you can on and off the belt without having to do on and off the belt. And I do dig that. The sheath is not leather. However, this is a pretty damn good sheath, even though it doesn't match the very, very damn good knife. So let's get into the 1917 Frontier Bowie sheath. This thing is cool for a different reason. You have your attached leather scabbard. It's sewn in the rear. You have your classic metal tip with the little ball in the back. You have your big, beautiful leather loop, which is somewhat of a dangler, right? It's not an off the sheath dangler. It's attached. But what makes this one so cool, and I don't even think I showed you, oh, and it does have a metal guard around, is the removable frog, which, as you see, you just slide it off, and you can take it off at the bottom, and you can use that frog for swords and things like that, whatever you want to do. You can even just dangle a knife right through as it is, but then it reattaches, and you have the scabbard like this. And I believe they actually have a matching sword to this knife, and if you have that knife and you have that sword, you can take this frog off and actually use it for that sword. Then you can put your knife back in the holster and you can tuck it in, so you can actually have both. The frog just isn't handy, and it doesn't just work, but it's just beautiful. And gosh, that leather smells good. It's just a really, really nice looking sheath. It's very, very well built, and I appreciate the hell out of this. This is a really, really good knife holder. So now let's get into big old bad blades that we love so much. First, the Natchez Bowie. This thing is like 17 1/8 overall. It's a pretty long knife. And I'm thinking that, yeah, the 1917 is just a bit longer. I wasn't sure about that. So this has a pretty decent swedge on it. It's not fully sharpened, but it is pretty close to it. You know, when they say a false edge, this is as false of edge as you can get without it being an edge. That's a really nice feature. The only thing that would suck for is batoning at the end of your blade. However, your blade is so big that you don't need to baton on the end. The rosewood handle is extremely comfortable. Okay, 11 3/4 inches of not just regular steel. This is 01. This is 01 steel. This is fantastic. This thing, sharp, strong, well built. You're gonna see, I did individual videos on both of these knives. Check them out. You're gonna dig them. And I mean, when you're looking at a long clip point like this, especially something that tapers, you're gonna think, all right, well, it's got to be weak. It's gonna bend. Something's gonna happen. I pried with this. I've thrown this. I added some snippets of the individual videos into this video, which you're going to see after I'm done doing all this. And you're going to see the very first thing is I threw this into a piece of like panel board, and it hit. And when it hit, it did one of these deals, sticking in, but it, you know, flopped all over the place. Not a single hint of a bend, not a trace of a bend. The thing is just awesome. It is, I believe, a 1/4 inch. I think the Natchez is actually thicker, and by a pretty good amount, but it's a noticeable amount, but this is still pretty thick. I think it's a 1/4 inch. Just awesome. Yeah, 11 3/4 inch blade, 01 steel. The handle, the grip is just typical Musso Bowie. Love it. It's like a shaped tombstone. You have the brass ends that are just awesome. And here's the cool thing about this knife above a lot of others. And some people have a problem with it because they think it weakens the knife, but it really doesn't. You see this little boop? I'll show you this in the regular video too, if I can just get it to focus. You see that little stem right there, that little peg? Now, that's not the end of a rat tail. It's not a full tang. It doesn't come all the way through. The tang actually stops around, right around there, and then from there to there they have this braided metal cord, which is awesome, and it attaches to the rear. And what that's for is it takes away vibration. So when you swing and you hit this thing, and you can swing and hit this thing into just about anything, you swing, boop, it takes away the vibration in the hand. It makes it more comfortable for swinging and hitting against things, which is pretty awesome. It's a very unique feature. It's very handy. There is no choil, and there's no usable ricasso, so all your grip is going to be from the handle. So having a comfortable handle is a must, and they absolutely achieve that with this knife. Let's get into the one that does have a choil, but still has a comfortable handle. This guy right here, I think the handle is like 5 3/8 on its own, but the blade, where that one is 11 3/4, this one is 12 1/4. So you are looking at, you know, a 1/2 inch longer in the steel itself, and I think the handles might be around the same. So overall length here is probably, because I didn't measure it, I don't know, almost 8, maybe 17 3/4, somewhere in there. But this right here is 1085 high carbon. Strong. It is a true full tang, so you do have the tang running all the way through, even though it doesn't show it here. It stops right there. The rosewood just finishes on top. It does have a screw system on here that holds your handle on. It does have a steel S guard. It does have this weird notched out part, but oddly, it's really comfortable. That was the only part I didn't think I was going to like when I got this knife. Love it. The fullers on this blade is the fullers of a sword, not the fullers of a knife. But man, this thing is just ridiculous. Now, they're both fighting knives, right? Any Bowie is a fighting knife. That's what it is. It's made to protect you in the wild, and especially back then, that's exactly what it was for. They were made to, it was a survival fighting knife. You did all your camping, cooking, hunting, fighting with one blade. That was it. You had one blade, and this big beast right here would be just about all you needed. It is, it's your axe, it's your shovel, it's your fighting knife, it's your kitchen knife. It's a one-shot do-all. I feel like Gallagher up here. I should smash this into a watermelon. But it does, again, it has a false edge, a swedge here, but it's nowhere near as honed in as that one. This one is a little bit rounder, so it's a little bit better for batoning. The difference is when it comes to thrusting, which it's kind of hard to say that one's better than the other because these are going to go through anything. That one being a more sharpened tip is going to thrust better. But when you're talking about these two knives, there's no such thing as thrusting really better because, I mean, I wouldn't want to be stabbed by that. These guys are awesome. When it comes to handle comfortability, man, I'll tell you, the comfort in this guy right here just is outshining just about anything. The steel on this thing, the 01 steel, is just phenomenal. It's great steel. I have an SRK by Cold Steel in San Mai that I have to bring you guys. I haven't brought you yet. I've brought you a bunch of other stuff. I haven't brought you my SRK. But I have to show you that because the San Mai is phenomenal, and I believe you can get these in San Mai steel. However, 01 is pretty much all you'll ever need. It's just that good. This one right here in the 1085, it's a very solid steel. The edge holds up extremely well, better than my Focus apparently. Again, it's not something you have to worry about tearing apart because these blades are just serious. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to show you a couple snippets of video that I'd already taken when I did some reviews on these, and then after those little snippets, you are going to see some action with these two that I do today live for you right here on Donnie B All Day YouTube channel guy. All right, so stay tuned. I don't know what that was either. Don't worry about it. Watch the little snippets, and then after those, we're going to do just a couple more things with these blades here. All right, hold on. So, you know, I'm going to start by showing you some footage of the Natchez Bowie. That was just an opening little throw. I was just, before I got started with the knife, I just threw this thing in there. It took this hardcore bend and twist, but that long clip point stayed true. So I decided we need to do a little batoning with it. So I just threw it down here on this little piece of wood, and I took another piece of wood because, well, that's how batoning works, but you already know that. And then I just decided to whack away. The edge on this knife has been untouched since then, and it's still fantastic. I was doing some chopping with this thing, and at one point I realized that this blade was so magnificent that I didn't even have to swing it to make it work. I was dropping the blade on the wood, and it was tearing it apart. Alright, so you know I had to throw it. And this thing, man, at 5 yards away, that took off like a bird in the air. So what about all the your typical knife skills like shaving wood and stuff like that? Yeah, the Natchez Bowie is just made to destroy everything. I mean, this knife blade is so freaking sharp. And even though it's absolutely ginormous, you could look at the easeability. Is that a real word? I don't freaking know. I review knives. Dude, guys, this thing, did you hear what that guy just said? It's beautiful. It's just an awesome knife. Man, I'll tell you what, let's take a look at the Frontier Bowie, and then we're going to, I'll use both of them in a second. With the Frontier Bowie, I didn't start by throwing it into some wood to check the tip. I just took the tip off of some milk, but then I believe I hit it again backside, and I hit it again, I believe. Let's see. Let's see. Wow. Man, I love this knife. Yeah. So, I just asked the question on video, does it chop? Look at this. Does it chop? Are you kidding me? This thing went through it like it didn't even know it was in the way. I started swinging, it started disappearing. That's crazy. So here comes the vacuum hose test. Boop. Check that out, man. Boop. Check that out, man. Boop. Check that out, man. I'll tell you what. That 1917 Bowie is just insane. Talking about an awesome blade. Look at that. The camera work sucks even when I'm holding it right up to the freaking television screen. Actually, it's a computer screen. But look at that. Speaks for itself. Oh, yeah. Almost forgot. Being a ginormous blade, is it still able to be used with delicate control and precision? Hey, I can see the Santa Cruz sign right there. Check that out, man. They know what they're doing when they make these knives. They just know what they're doing. All right, I say we introduce these knives together once again, but this time in a versus. Yeah, let's get them together right now. All right, so let's use these guys right here. I don't even know if you can see all this stuff. So, just a breeze to cut through some things. I have this guy. Hopefully you can see it. Let's make it a little bit more manageable here. There's one. I'm left-handed, but I'm going to swing away with my right because this guy should get the job done with whatever hand I use. And of course, it absolutely does. These guys are just fantastic beasts, and where to find them. They're just freaking amazing knives. Let's go chop something a little thicker. That was just a little taste for these guys. Come on now. Okay, so here we are in the woodlands. Make sure I'm actually getting you guys all set here. Yeah, I got you guys all set here. All right, so I've got this big fat tree right here. This thing is pretty big. Let's get rid of some of this first. Get rid of some of this first. Whoop. That's good. Get rid of all that crap. All right, so now we have this big fat guy right here. What we want to do is go through it and see. That guy just got hit by a branch. All right, so and see what it takes to get through something like this. Now I'm obviously getting through a lot better with this one right now because I'm on my proper hand. So if I switched them, I guarantee you that, as you can see, hitting with my proper hand is better. I have to say that this one might be a better chopper. So I should probably stand the other side because it's leaning that way. Woo! But it's just gonna fall on me. But you can see oh, these guys are beasts. I mean beasts. And it's still falling. Just going through this right here is just, man, I found out how I am swinging with my right hand. And it's not worth bragging on. But I'll tell you, Woo! These guys are choppers. They are choppers. Now, I actually have a reason to go through these. I'll show you in a second. Literally, it's not going to take long because I need to pound through something. Now, we need some kind of baton. So let me ponder. Pondering. I'm just going to chop a piece off real quick, guys, of another one that I already taken down. I'll even bring it into light so you're not just listening to me from a distance. Right here. Put that down there. Man, that went like halfway through. Stick that right there. Knock it down. Look at, I don't know if you guys can even see how much I'm taking out of there, but it's a lot. Man, that's a lot of wood in a single chop. That is crazy. Okay, so we have a baton. A baton. So, I should be in here good enough for you to see. What I'm going to do is put this one down over here, maybe. There we go. Just stick it in a piece of wood. Now, I need to take this guy, and we are going to strike it. And this is very wet, obviously, because I just cut it down. But it's not going to be a problem overall. Like that. Not a problem. Just stick that in there. It's probably going to fall down. Maybe not. Let's take this guy right here. And same thing. Just crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy good. Let's take a slab off of this guy right here. All right. We go from a piece of round to a piece of wedge real quick. Boo, 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 boo. Just awesome, awesome, awesome. We'll do that. Whoops. So then what we did is we just obviously made half a wedge. Now we'll take this guy. Man, overall the bite, I have to say, the Natchez Bowie has more of a bite and a precision cut. I have to give it that. I mean, I go right through it. I'm into the tree, but you can see it's just making paper cuts from this guy. Just really, really easy. So that's that. Going through those. Hold on, I got a phone call. Oh, I just missed it. Not too bad. So let's take these guys over to the rack and give the which one would I think should be the one if you could only choose one. Glad I don't have to choose. Well, here we have them, YouTube. My brothers of the blade, knife fanatics and steel lovers. This is the hardest decision I'm going to ever have to make in a versus. I'm pretty sure of that, because I don't just like these two, and I don't even just love these two. I freaking love these two knives. I mean, two of my absolute favorite knives on the planet are right here, and I have to decide for you today that if I could only have one, if only one was able to be kept in my person, which would it be? And if I was going to say right off the bat, without doing any of the hard work, which one it would, I'd probably say the 1917. You know, having the full tank construction, you know, the sweet S-guard, having it coated, the big fullers. It's just that beautiful sheath. It's just awesome. The Natchez Bowie, however, is pretty much one of my favorite knife shapes ever. That knife shape right there, even though the 1917 is pretty much the same shape, something about that Musso style Bowie is just an absolute love of mine. And so if I was going purely by first look, I would say Natchez Bowie, without a doubt. But here's the thing, it's the entire package. Let's go over the sheaths. The sheath for the 1917 Bowie is so much more attractive, so much nicer in the hand. You can take it apart and use it to carry a sword, right? I mean, the thing is just badass. However, if I'm talking practicality in the long run, and if I can only have one, and that means it would have to be not just a fighting knife, but a survival Bowie, then I have to give it to the Natchez Bowie on the sheath, because A, that sheath material alone is indestructible. I mean, that stuff is as durable as you're going to get. It's ambidextrous, which I love. It has lashing points all over the place. So as a survival tool, the sheath definitely has to go to the Natchez. And when you're talking about, what is going to be a final decision, everything has to be part of the say, and that's a pretty big say. The grip, for me, even though it's smaller and I have massive hands, I just appreciate the grip of the Natchez Bowie. And it's hard to say that because it makes it sound like I'm taking away from the grip on the 1917, and that is nowhere near true. I love that grip. It is so comfortable in the hand. However, for my hand, the Natchez Bowie gets it. Now, as far as blade shape and usefulness, of the parts, I guess you could say, the choil is a definite win for me. And the big fullers are a definite win for me. I freaking love them. And if I was considering just that, then I would say the 1917. If I was going by the handguard, seeing as how it's a fighting knife, you need to be able to spin the blade in your hand. And having that giant downward sweep on the S-guard, which is great if you're in a knife fight or if somebody's swinging a stick at you, that's going to protect your first couple of fingers without a freaking doubt. But as far as maneuverability, you have more maneuverability with the Natchez Bowie and that straight guard that's a little bit smaller. So for me, even though the 1917 is way better suited for an actual knife fight, when you're talking about using these for a fighting knife and protection, it's not, a guarantee that the next guy coming, Bigfoot, is going to also have a massive Bowie. So in this day and age, a handguard is more to keep your hand from hitting the blade than it is from something hitting your hand. So I would have to roll out with the Natchez Bowie. Now, as far as tang construction is concerned, as the Natchez Bowie has a genius tang with a shock absorbing cable inside, and it is genius and it is amazing. However, there is nothing on the planet stronger than a real full tang, a true full tang. So for that, I'd have to say the 1917 Bowie. The Natchez is fatter, and while they're both high carbon steel, the Natchez Bowie is made of 01, which gets the edge to the 1085 without a doubt in my mind. Fit and finish, they're both cold steel knives. They're both remarkable. They both are built so strong and beautiful. You can't take away. As far as blade finish, you can see that Natchez Bowie has no marks in it. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful satiny steel. And then you'd look at the black coating on the 1917, and there isn't a single part of that black coating removed around the edge. which when you look at the Beckers, like the BK7 and whatnot, that black coating comes off almost after your first use. You start wearing through it. So kudos to Cold Steel for that. But as far as finish, I mean, they're pretty much even, because neither finish is getting destroyed through use. And I use these knives. I use all my knives, and these are something I like to wield. Edge for edge. It's kind of hard because the Natchez Bowie I find being a better chopping knife. Just the bite on that thing is freaking sane, and it's crazy because it's a thicker knife, but the edge is better for chopping, but that's the choppability and not just edge sharpness. As far as edge sharpness, they're pretty much equal. I mean, there's no real way to edge anything out there. Edge. So I mean, finding a clear winner there is just impossible. However, I do like to throw knives, and I have to say that 1917 Bowie is a joy to throw. It's a really, really nice knife to leave the hand. So, I mean, what do I say? My first inclination was, even before I started this, it was going to be the 1917 Bowie. That was my first thought. But as I swing the Natchez, and as I feel the bite that it's getting into the wood when I chop down those little trees, you know, I have to say, on the most narrow of margins, and I'm talking splitting hairs here, if I had to choose one, just one, for the rest of my life, it would be the Natchez Bowie. And it is so painful to say that, looking at that 1917, because there is zero flaws in that knife to make me choose something over it. But the same thing goes with the Natchez. So I'll tell you what, if you are watching this video because one of these knives has caught your attention and you can't decide which one it is, you're not going to go wrong. You're not going to go wrong with either one. Just because I say this is the one I would have doesn't mean it's the one you would have, because they are both freaking phenomenal. And I'll tell you what, if you get the chance, own both. You will freaking love them. Greatest pair of knives, I think, to come out of any company. Greatest combo of extra large Bowies is right here staring you in the face. These are the best. The Cold Steel Natchez Bowie and the Cold Steel 1917 Frontier Bowie are two aces in the hole. Speaking of aces in the hole, I'm Donnie B all day, and until next knife.